play down here in Tennessee. We don't need y'all to talk about us because we're going to talk about ourselves.
Welcome, everybody, once again to Titans Tube. I'm Justin. This is Jake, and hello,
Justin.
Amy.
Oh my God,
we're here in the flesh together.
I
Wow!
haven't seen you
Look
in
at this.
Years,
literally. We'll say years. Yeah, it's been years. I'm in Denver. Caleb is also here, but not here. Right here, currently. He'll be in the picks video later on this week, but we're gonna be here. Doing this recap here. I know it's a Tuesday. It's a little bit later after the game has been played, but this is when we can talk about the game and get the video up. But super excited for this one in a new setting. We're out here, Amy, out in Denver. I'm sorry the football vibes in Denver, Colorado may not be that great right now. Danger Russ, hashtag not really going so well,
I don't know
unfortunately.
What's going on.
Yeah, but
that's not my team.
Yeah, this is the Titans. This is the Titans channel, Titans team. So, Amy, I'll let you start it off. How are you doing, and how are you? I guess keeping it Titans themed. How are you feeling about this Titans team after 5 games?
You know, I'm shocked by this Titans team after 5 games.
We're always shocked.
I'm shocked with our record and like how did we get here? You know, like with the style of play we've chosen to do this year. I don't know, in these first 5 games, which are basically like a preseason, it feels like.
I know.
Yeah, that's what everyone's saying.
Because we're playing with like preseason practice squad players sometimes.
Yeah, I'm shocked, but I mean, you know, considering the circumstances, I'm happy to be where we're at. I'm happy to be with a winning record.
I mean, this is the best we could ask for, Jake. Am I right? Like after 0-2, we were just saying if we can somehow just rip off these 3 winnable games and get to the bye week and regroup
with a winning record.
Yeah, get back above 500. That's all we can hope and ask for. Because after that Bills Monday night loss, I mean, spirits were all
low.
the way down. So we are where we want to be. But again, Jake, nothing comes easy as Titans fans. Another nail biter here. I mean, it had to come to at the very last drive. It took a very classic bend but don't break defense to let the Washington Commander football team march all the way down. And then finally get the clutch stop to preserve the win. Another heart stopper, Jake. But did we expect anything less? I guess
we did not expect anything less, Justin. I have the receipts. I made sure to say it in the last 3 videos leading up to this Commanders game. And I'm going to say it right here in the recap of the Commanders game. We knew this was going to come down to a fourth quarter stop, or maybe the Titans had to maybe try and score some points in the fourth quarter. That's an interesting strategy we could try out after the bye. I have a stat for you, Justin.
Bring it.
This Titans team is the first team since the 2005 San Francisco 49ers to not score a single point in the fourth quarter through 5 weeks. That is impressive. That's very impressive. Yeah. And those San Francisco 49ers were 1-4. And I think that speaks to what Amy said about how this team, just the way it's happened and the way that they've been playing and the way that it feels like we've been pulling teeth throughout these first 5 weeks.
Yeah.
You look up and they have a winning record. They're 3-2. And you mentioned it, Justin, that, after the Bills loss, it was like, let's just please limp into the bye week, try and get these 3 wins. And they were able to do it. And they're very Mike Vrabel signature-esque wins. It's games where the Titans look ugly, things look bad, and they just somehow scratch and claw and find a way to get it done in the waning seconds.
Yeah, it's the hallmark of a Mike Vrabel team. I mean, isn't he has one of the best records in the NFL in like 1 possession games or like 3 points or less games. And this team very well could be 4-1 right now if Randy Bullock makes that kick at the end of the Giants game. So even more unbelievable. Well, then we would have had fourth quarter points had he made that kick. But still, I mean, I know San Francisco did not have many great teams in the mid-2000s. So anytime you're doing something for the first time since San Francisco, all those years ago, it's probably not a good stat, but luckily we do have more wins than they did. So again, pulling out the win, in a very close, nail-biting fashion. And it was actually cool to see. Did either of y'all watch the Mike Vrabel locker room speech, the videos that they put out? And they talk about, he brought up the word culture, and you can see the words like repeating like culture. So that's something they preach. Like winning has just become like a culture of this Titans team now for the past few years. We're one of the only teams with a winning record for the past however many years.
And it doesn't have to be pretty, okay? Like a win does not have to be pretty, especially in the NFL. Like there are teams who can go out there and, like I was just talking with you earlier before this, like there are teams like the Chiefs who can go out there and just play a beautiful fourth quarter game where the whole time you're just enthralled. They're piecing everything together really well. And
it's never in doubt. They're in control the whole time.
Those teams
we don't do that.
We don't do that. And you know what? A win's a win. A win for them is the same thing as a win for us.
Yeah, that's all that matters to the win column. And right now, we have ascended to the first place in the AFC South over the Colts at 2-2-1, and then Jacksonville 2-3. Houston getting their first. That was big for Houston to get their win against Jacksonville. Yeah. Give them another loss. Get them humbled a little bit, Jake. I think they're getting a little too big for their britches, but Jags are still Jags and out there.
So if we want to get into,
if we want to get more into the specifics, I mean, boy, did we ever need Derrick Henry in this game, pacing this offense. A great game, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then also delivering through the air again. I love how, with this lack of wide receiver weapons that we found ourselves into, that Todd Downing, credit to him, is able to get Derrick Henry active in the pass catching game, as well as Dontrell Hilliard, maybe our best wide receiver now with 3 touchdowns on the season. So big game from Henry when we needed it. Really at times he was the only thing to get our offense going. And a lot of times it felt like he had to do it himself. He was having to break tackles and getting every yard he can get. Because, we can get to the cons later, but this O-line, Jake, got issues, man. Got issues big time.
Definitely. Yeah, this was a vintage Derrick Henry performance, in my opinion. It's been great to see him not only come back from the foot injury last year, and we saw him come back in that Bengals playoff game, and he didn't quite look himself. And even week 1, obviously week 2 was throw the film in the trash, but through the first 2 weeks this year, he didn't quite look himself. We didn't see that burst. We didn't see that plant the foot in the ground and get north and south classic Derrick Henry running style.
Yeah.
But over this stretch of 3 wins for the Titans, it has been a sight for sore eyes to see number 22 get his kind of swagger back. And you could see him moving really, really well, moving with full confidence. And it's just a great thing to see. And like you said, he paced the entire offense because Ryan Tannehill has about a second and a half from when he gets the snap. He needs to get rid of it. I felt like I caught myself saying, get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball, like just all day long on Sunday. And it's because you said it, Justin. This offensive line might as well be a bunch of traffic cones sitting up there.
Yeah, absolutely. First, going back to Derrick Henry real quick, but there's something about Henry this year where he seems, his hair's different. He doesn't have the ponytail anymore. He made that change, but I've seen a different Derrick Henry this year. I know his yards per carry might be down for the time being right now. I think he's just under 4.0 yards. So, and usually he's much higher than that. But he's still playing well. He's playing better as you were alluding to. But he looks like a guy that's like pissed off and he's ready to come back after that injury and just take over. He's running mean. He's showing emotion. Yes. We were talking about that Indianapolis game where he had that second rushing touchdown that was called back on the hold downfield by Burks, where he took off his helmet and he was fired up. That's a new kind of Derrick Henry that we don't see. Yeah. He's calm and composed.
He's hungry. That's what I'm seeing. I think he is like just hungry for wins, hungry for wins, really. Like that's what he wants, right? Is our team to move forward. And you're seeing it in his energy and his demeanor and the way I think it's translating onto the field too. Like I think he's determined. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah. We need that. We need that. And for this offense to be able to lean on a player that can lead us and just doing a great job and contributing in the passing game is phenomenal. But poor Tannehill being put in behind this offensive line, Jake. Crazy stat I had written down. So he was sacked 5 times, obviously not good. And he himself took a pretty bad sack when he tried to spin away and ended up losing 7 more yards. I think it was later in the game. When we had been driving, I think we were around midfield, and that just ended any chance for going for it on a fourth down or maybe kicking a long field goal. I can't remember exactly where we were on the field, but not just the 5 sacks, Jake, but he was hit. There was 13 quarterback hits recorded against Tannehill. I mean, he took a beating. I don't know how they clarify hits. Does the quarterback have to be knocked to the ground or a little bump? I mean, if it were Tom Brady, a little bump and you're getting a flag
15.
thrown.
That's 15.
Yeah.
Jerome's throwing that flag. You know it.
Yeah. Jerome Boger. Yeah. We could have used Jerome Boger in this game. He might have thrown 3 or 4 pass interference or roughing the passer calls against these hits. But yeah, dude, just getting knocked around. And I mean, I felt like, how did you feel Tannehill played overall, though, given the pressure and rush that he was facing, especially early on in the game? I mean, Montez Sweat looked like he was just going to take over the game for the entire 4 quarters. But again, he's calm and composed. And I mean, he steps up and throws that huge deep shot to Nick Westbrook-Akina when the offense needed a big time play. So still he's making things happen in a bad circumstances from what I'm seeing. So I thought Tannehill was okay. Could have been better for sure, but biggest stat, I think, no turnovers. This is a game where we couldn't turn the ball over on this one. And Tannehill took care of the ball, took some sacks from his blind side and was able to hang on. So thank goodness for that. But I thought Tannehill, he's a veteran, composed leader. He doesn't get shook. So I was okay with what Tannehill delivered, given, the weapons he was working with and the protection he was having to work with. So another thumbs up, in my opinion, for Tannehill.
Absolutely. And, Ryan Tannehill is a game manager. I mean, I don't think any Titans fan is going to deny that. I feel like we keep waiting on him to kind of become the guy who leads the offense through, tight games and in late game situations, which he can be. But I don't think he's going to make the splash plays of an elite quarterback in the NFL. He's just the classic cut and dry game manager. And that's the formula for the Titans we've seen since he's taken over. This is, again, a vintage Tannehill stat line, Justin. You set it up perfectly. 15 to 25, 181 yards, and 1 touchdown. But exactly, you said it, 0 turnovers. If Tannehill can just play turnover-free football, this is going to be a good football team. It's just you can't lean on him. You can't lean on him, and if, as long as he does that game manager thing, doesn't make the big mistake, I think this team is going to be just okay, And you said it also, with him taking all those hits, it feels night and day. I mean, I feel like people do commend Ryan Tannehill for his toughness and his ability to stay in there and take those hits, because coming off of the Marcus Mariota experience where your quarterback is never healthy, knock on wood, but Ryan Tannehill has yet to miss a start in a Titans uniform since he took over. And it's not been from lack of, him getting hit or him not taking shots, because we see it every single week, because this offensive line is in trouble, Justin.
I mean, his win percentage as a starting quarterback for the Titans is very high. I can't remember the exact numbers right now, but I mean, it's well over 50%. It's very high, but there's just that but the games that really matter, like when you're in the playoffs.
Yes. Needs that clutch, but big game factor to carry into. Yeah.
But yes, I think the turnover thing is huge. As long as he can he doesn't need to have these incredible stats where you're seeing this stat line of 300 plus yards and multiple tutties. It's just, if he can just keep, that's a shout out to Gronk. If he can just keep that turnover column at 0, I think that gives us a great chance to win. Also, something I've been loving with this offense is their efficiency in the red zone. Once again, when we get down in the red zone, we're scoring those tutties. And I think part of that has to do with Tannehill's game management style and how, I don't know, once we get down there, we've done a really good job of not only protecting the ball, but also getting it in the end zone and not having to bring Randy out on the field, which is huge.
Yeah, we're not settling for it drives me crazy to see Randy Bullock 25-yard field goal attempt.
4 times.
That's and how clutch was that final drive to get a touchdown? We got a touchdown right before halftime, right? It was, the game was 3 days ago. Mm-hmm. But we had a last drive, and I was watching it with a friend of mine, and I was like, this getting a touchdown here, knowing this offense and how we perform in the second half of games, this could this could be huge long term. We need to go ahead and cash in on the touchdown here while we can. And of course, I think, it was Henry punching it in there. Real quick, and the last point about Tannehill too is, he's a game manager, and he can't necessarily elevate the players around him, like the weapons. Like, we're sending Nick Westbrook-Akina as our deep threat guy. Like, probably 31 other teams in the NFL could do better than that.
Yes,
sending it, like, not saying he's a bad player, but he's not the guy you want on your deep go, just streaking down the field. But like, having elite weapons around Tannehill, like, I don't know, an AJ Brown, like a Corey Davis, who was great in especially his last year here, Jonnu Smith, like Tannehill could, if he has elite weapons around him, that would elevate Tannehill to take over in the passing game, which we did see when we had those guys. But working with what he's working with now, very much of a game manager. And if he can take care of the ball, we're still going to be in good positions to win a lot of games. If we want to flip to the defensive side, Amy, how much are you just loving this defensive line and Jeffrey Simmons, Danico Autry, Tierre Tart? Oh, just
TT,
really,
baby.
TT having a breakout, already kind of having his own breakout season. Yeah. I know he's been here for a couple of years now, but really playing well, really needing some guys to step up in the absence of Harold Landry. And Rashad Weaver, I think he had a pass deflected. Didn't really show up much on the other stats on the box score, but he's played well for us this year. And just the ability to knock down passes. Our defense is like our best cornerbacks as well as our defensive linemen. So
they've been getting up.
The bread and butter of the defense, Amy.
Yeah. No, I've been loving our defensive play this year. I know it's been a little challenging. I think we've had a lot of injuries already, and we are starting kind of a lot of crazy combinations. I did not love those deep balls that Carson Wentz was able to get on us multiple times, going over the top. I know, those moon balls, as they like to call them. That wasn't exciting to see, and I think we need to work on that. But overall, I'm excited about our defense. I love their energy. I think that defensive line just has, I don't know, they play well together. They feed off of each other. Yeah. I'm excited for what's to come there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. This is a great defense. Obviously, we have a lot of rollover from last year's team on defense, but man, they just got to get healthy. Going off of those moon balls, Amy, I thought Roger McCreary's defense on the second touchdown was great. What are we going to do about Caleb Farley? I mean, what? Yes. I understand that he hasn't played a lot of football. At all, really. I mean, he had the COVID year, didn't play during the COVID year, and then he came out into the draft, and he didn't play his rookie year. He played maybe 5 snaps in that Monday Night Buffalo game last season until he tore his ACL, and he didn't play again. And now you're just seeing him in limited action here, and he just keeps getting beat. He just does not win his matchups. He doesn't look fast. He was heralded to be a big body, but also really fast corner, and we're just not seeing it out of him. So I am incredibly encouraged by this defense, especially the front seven. I mean, David Long Jr. pops off the screen every single Sunday. Case in point, making the game-winning interception this week. But and the front four creates. That was another great point, Amy, for each other. There's no big one standout star, maybe Big Jeff, but he's just the wrecker in the middle. And it's great to see this defense bend and not break, like you said, Justin, as that's kind of their signature style. But I just think you got to get healthy. We need Bud Dupree back to really solidify that pass rush. And we need Elijah Molden back bigger than anybody, I think. And also in the secondary, Amani Hooker would also be a great thing.
Yeah, for sure. Caleb Farley, man. I mean, you feel like it's almost about time we see him start to make some progress. But like you said it, I mean, the lack of speed, I think, was concerning to me, because he just straight up the dude just ran right past him, and he was heralded as like a very fast, athletic, and lengthy cornerback. And he just ran right by him. Nothing fancy. So hopefully he can get that corrected, or we can just get more help there at that position. Because I mean, love this defense. I think we have a great defense, but we still, in more games than not, have a tendency to give up a big time play. And there was a few in this game, and I mean, it feels like every game there's been at least a 40+ yard play against us. And in this one, there was like that 75-yard touchdown play.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're able to stop that, maybe it doesn't come down to the last possession. Or if the offense is able to generate more points in the second half, maybe it wouldn't come down to the last possession. I mean, we are playing complementary football. It's like, it's like when the offense is doing well, the defense has like, I don't know, if they can both complement each other for a full game, like this team's going to be extremely difficult to beat. But another thing with the defense, real quick, another con in general is I'm still seeing a lot of missed tackles, Jake. Terry McLaurin, he slipped through several tackles, it seemed like, in that game. So I saw a lot of tackling issues against Washington. But, still like this defense. But, I mean, thank goodness for the bye week. It couldn't have come at a better time. Yes. Hopefully we can get healthier, fine-tune some of these fundamentals, these tackling problems that we've had, and not just in Washington, but it's kind of been a thing going on all season. And then one other point I had is the penalties. We had 8 penalties in this game, Jake, for 69 yards. Nice. But one of them was not. Yeah, this one's not a nice. We don't want that many yards. But one of them was what's going on in the league with these roughing the passer calls with the Jeff Simmons. So one of those 8 for 69 was 1 for 15 on the roughing the passer. So that was a huge play where he maybe grazed his helmet. I mean, thank goodness no young children were in the room whenever I was watching, because that display of violence, I don't think anyone could recover from that. So still, though, you want to see a cleaner game on the penalty side.
It's just inconsistent. I mean, if we're just going to talk in general about roughing the passer, obviously this is a big topic right now.
Yeah.
There's just inconsistency. Like, none of the refs seem to be on the same page on what constitutes roughing the passer, what doesn't. And I don't really know what needs to happen to fix that, because it is kind of a gray area. But I mean, they have to be able to tackle a quarterback. Okay, you should be able to tackle a quarterback.
Yes,
I mean
that is literally the game of football. It's tackling.
If you're and blocking, if you're a defensive player, and after what I saw this weekend, I'd be like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what is an appropriate tackle and not an appropriate tackle anymore. I think we'll continue to see this theme throughout this season, not just for the Titans, but just in the NFL in general. But yeah, it's a little gray right now, and it's very inconsistent.
Yeah, no, definitely an exceptionally brutal weekend for the league officiating wise. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Jeff Simmons play in the Titans game, but like you guys said, we saw it in several games, including even the Monday night game last night.
Yeah.
I mean, the best.
Andy Reid was not happy.
Yeah. The best tweet, a few people tweeted it, but it was like, I think Chris Jones is the first person to get a roughing the passer called against him while he was possessing the ball. Like, how ridiculous. He was already strip sacked and possessed the ball, and then then Derek Carr, got tackled. But anyway, hopefully these issues, I don't know how this gets corrected. I mean, it's all a judgment call.
This is what's going to happen now. The teams are going to have to watch tape on the refs for their game coming up, and they're going to have to read, okay, these refs will call it if I do this, but not this.
That's true. We're now having to watch game film of refs instead of the actual opponent, because teams are playing the refs more than the actual other team.
In some ways.
But anyway, so not, obviously there are so many things to be worked on with this Titans team, with the penalties, the missed tackles, the poor O-line play. Jake, do you think John Robinson at this point in the season will look for outside help? I know apparently there's a fire sale with the Carolina Panthers. Who's their left tackle? Who's their best offensive lineman? Just trade for whatever that is. We'll take him. We'll take DJ Moore. What'll it take to get DJ Moore here? Some help at wide receiver. So do you see the Titans bringing anybody else in, or do you think we're just trying to get healthy and rolling with the guys we got?
That's a great question, Justin. I don't know if it's the pessimism in me or what, but I just saw that, I don't think there's a player on the Carolina Panthers that if you brought them to the Tennessee Titans, that it drastically improves the situation you have right now with this team. I think this team is really well built at its nucleus. But yes, it does have massive holes on the offensive line. Yes, it has massive holes at wide receiver. And was that self-made? I don't know. I feel like, you look at John Robinson's last 2 drafts, and they have been incredibly unfruitful, especially at that offensive line position. If the Panda Bear works out, we're doing a lot better on the offensive line. If Dylan Radins works out, Justin, we're doing a lot better on the offensive line. If you didn't trade away A.J. Brown, your offense is probably more explosive and people respect your passing game more.
Yeah.
It feels like self-inflicted team building wounds. I'm not sure if John Robinson goes and gets outside help. I'm very open to it at this point, but I think offensive line is the biggest problem area right now. Maybe then corner depth, but if you're healthy in the secondary, you have a great secondary. If you're healthy on defense, you have a great defense. And so, yeah, wide receiver, but offensive line just seems to be the biggest issue. Do we go and get a trade? We'll find out. It'll be a rental at best, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Getting Nate Davis back healthy will help after the bye. I mean, Aaron Brewer, people are talking about Aaron Brewer coming in and replacing Ben Jones at center eventually, maybe as soon as at the end of this year. But I don't know if I'm crazy about that. Dennis Daly, he seems like a stopgap right now. So, yeah, offensive line, this team looks much better if we're able to consistently pass block and run block. And Henry's not having to break 2 tackles to get back to the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, I totally agree. If we do get help, I think the weakest group for me right now would be the offensive line, the most worrisome group.
Yeah, and touching on this Titans team as a whole, I think they're good. I don't necessarily think they need outside help. And this defense, I mean, they say defense wins championships, but it hurts me that this offense can't really hold up its end of the bargain in this modern day NFL. I mean, yes, you look at the end of the day and the Titans team is 3-2. They've had to squeak by and get by the skin of their teeth every single week that they pulled out a win. But, you know, look at the scores of these games. The defense gave up 21 to the Giants. That's a good game from the defense, only giving up 21 points. Bills game a wash. We've always said that. But then the Raiders, 22 points. Another good game from the defense. The Colts, 17 points. Commanders, 17 points.
Yeah,
you got to score points to win football games. And you watch, you know, games like last night with the Chiefs and the Raiders, and it feels like the Titans can't quite keep up with the Joneses, you know, with the elite groups in the league on offense. So definitely, I think this offense needs more work in the bye week than the defense does.
Yeah, I agree. Defense just needs to heal. Offense needs to work.
Correct. Yeah,
they just need to work harder. They need to play better. And again with the defense and like the situational defense, I wanted to shout out either Shane Bowen or Mike Vrabel. But how about, you know, knowing that Washington had to have a touchdown at the end of the game, and the defensive call, you know, you saw Tier Tart and there was another defensive lineman, you know, kind of rushed, but then even they dropped back into coverage. So there was really nowhere to go with the ball. I thought that was an excellent call from Shane Bowen to be able to preserve the win there. But yeah, so yeah, we're 3-2 with the bye. Hopefully we get healthier. We have the Colts and then the Texans until things really start heating up with the schedule. So we can get to 5-2, but we've seen this Titans team can lose, you know.
I mean, division games are always the hardest. Everything goes out the window when it's a division game. I don't care if it's
the Texans beat the Titans last year when we were rolling at home late in December. Remember that game? We were at that game and it was rainy and terrible wind. It was awful. For the 2 Titans games I get to go to a year now, that one was just so bad. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's all on you.
Shouldn't have taken it that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the case now in the NFL. It doesn't matter if it's the Titans or if you're the Chiefs playing the Raiders. Like, it's going to be a hard game because it's a division game. You just know these teams so well.
Yeah.
So can't sleep on those games. Are we the better team? Yes, obviously. But got to stay focused.
Yeah, definitely. But hey, still we're excited. Titans are back in it. This season is very much alive. It's a terrible feeling to be 0-2 and at the bottom. And it's like, is this season just going to be a wash? What's going on? But we're right back in it. First place in the division.
So we're showing fight and grit, which is, I feel like since Vrabel came in, that has what his teams have always shown. They've shown heart, they've shown fight, they've shown grit. Culture.
They
can go down 0-2 and come back, win 3 games. Next thing you know, we're happy to have a winning record going into the bye week. I think he has really brought that to this Titans culture, to use the buzzword. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Give me a good season.
I'm back, guys. Super Bowl back on the menu, right? Right, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yeah, you look back to last season. What were the Titans after 5 weeks? 3-2 with some really, really bad stinkers and some okay ones. Going back to one of the first things we were talking about in this video was, winning ugly versus winning pretty. I just don't think the Vrabel Titans are able to win pretty. I feel like I haven't watched a pretty Titans win in a very long time.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it. I was literally trying to think. I think we might have had one game last year where we won comfortably end to end, but I don't know. I couldn't think of one.
For some reason, when I think of complete, full, pretty Titans games, my mind always goes back to the opening day when Marcus played against Jameis.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
Yes, yeah.
And
we don't want to go back to those years. That was a Whisenhunt coach team.
I know, but just that's the last in my memory, just without really doing research of our last full game. I remember every quarter I was like, yes, we're killing it.
Yeah, there's no way we're losing this game. And it's been a long time since we felt that way. But I mean, we're winning more games at the end of the day these days.
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll take it. We'll take it. Excited to get the win. Good time for a bye week. Do you guys have anything else you want to say before wrapping up?
I think that's gonna take us, Amy. Anything? No.
I mean,
Mike Vrabel has always said culture is what your team's culture is what it looks like when you're at your worst. And we've seen the Titans at their worst after that Buffalo game, getting absolutely shit canned on national TV, 0-2, terrible start to the year. And they reel off 3 straight wins. I don't care how ugly they are. It's always beautiful to put a W on the schedule.
Yes, sir.
I just want more hungry Derrick Henry. I'm liking that.
I love seeing that. Yeah, man, I love the emotional, passionate. Rip off your helmet. Well, I know that can be a penalty. Don't rip off your helmet
Well, no,
in the middle
they
of
like
play.
to miss those penalties. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh yeah,
that was Montez Sweat had one.
Yeah, that's right. Come on, refs. Refs are the real losers of this NFL season so far. Everyone just throwing the refs under the bus for everything.
Of course,
but that's it. I mean, guys, thank you for tuning into this special recap with a special guest, but also co-host, one of the 4 horsemen of this Titans channel. Very happy to have you on this, Amy, and I'm so glad you and Caleb are picking up the NFL Weekly picks as well.
Yes, it's
always
been
fun
exciting
and entertaining.
To do that.
Yeah,
but it's fun being here with you and Jake. I like that too.
Yeah, we'll have to do more collabs within the same channel more often. Yeah. Yes. All right, Jake, anything else you want to take us to the barn as you do?
Absolutely. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Tighten up, everybody. Enjoy the bye week. Maybe go on a hike on Sunday. Maybe go for a relaxing walk in the park. Do something nice. Do something nice with your Sunday afternoon instead of watch the Titans really have to just rip a victory out of the jaws of defeat like we do every single week. But that's going to do it for us. Everybody have a great week. Thank you all for talking Titans football with me. Great to talk to you again, Amy. And peace out.
Peace.